your great start. What could you talk about some of the things you like about what you've seen to lead to this great start?
Say that one more time. Couldn't hear you.
You're off to your best start since like 2007. The program is. Could you talk about some of the elements that have led to this?
Well, you know, um, always have good players is always a common thread in any program that's successful. Anybody that's winning had success. You got good players. We got some good players. We got some experience, and um, there's no question we've played a challenging schedule. And I've talked about this many times. I just feel like there's a couple games on this schedule. I felt like because what we're dealing with COVID and everything else, it cost us or hurt us for sure in a couple of our games that we weren't successful in. But that's kind of where it is. Um, we have good people. Again, we've got good players, and these guys have keep working and making adjustments we got to continue to make. And, like all the teams, I do feel like it's a continuous adjustment with us right now, just because you got two new point guards, Carsen and Charles together. And we didn't get the benefit of having those exhibition games where you can experiment a little bit, or, 2 or 3 cupcakes before you get into the meat of the schedule where, you can put a lineup out there and you can play through mistakes and it don't cost you a game. We've had none of those kind of games. That's starting from the get-go. 1 or 2 at the most. And one of those was without Charles when we couldn't play him. That was Tennessee Tech game. So outside that, you look at Mississippi Valley, there just hadn't been no games that we've been able to let some guys play through mistakes, different lineups, experiment a little bit, and get a feel for it. So because of that, I think it's still, people start guarding you differently than they guarded you, 3 or 4 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. They look at stats a little bit, not shooting it great, so they start guarding you different. Because of that, it makes you continue to adjust, how you're playing right now. So that will probably be something we'll still be doing in March.
Coach Jared with the Daily News here. You guys were able to come away with the sweep of Marshall last weekend, and to go along with that good start, you guys put yourself atop the East Division standings, tied with Old Dominion, and now you're going to go up against the team at the bottom of the standings with Old Dominion now off this weekend. I guess what kind of opportunity does this weekend present for you guys in order to try to separate yourself from the rest of the pack in the standing and put yourself in a better position come postseason?
Well, hey, Jared, I know where you're heading with your question and all that, but they all count as one win and count as one loss. Winning we're your first place teams, last place team. It's so early. You've got to be able to take them all one at a time. And at the end of these 18 games, if we're able to play 18, where it's 16, well, it's 14. Then you got to start counting them up. And just hope, you got enough W's, outweighs the L's, and it puts you in first place in the league. If you start trying to figure out, play every game first place or last place, you're going to get on that mountain, you're going to get in that valley. And again, approach them all the same because they all the same. Beating Middle Tennessee counts the same as losing to Marshall. 1 win, 1 loss. So let's take them one at a time. At the end of 18 or whatever amount of games we're able to play, we'll count them up and see where we're at.
Hey, Coach, this is Nick Keyser from the Call-Tide Herald. You kind of already touched on how it's a game-by-game sort of, ordeal for you guys. But, kind of looking more into the matchup, MTSU is a team that has struggled on both sides of the ball, rebounding. So, what's going to be something that you guys can take advantage of this weekend?
Well, Nick, we want to do what we kind of do. We want to keep getting that ball inside. It's kind of strength of our team a little bit with Charles or Carsen. We want to keep getting into there, and we want to, drive it in there the best we can. Now, Depends on how people guard you a little bit, what they're doing. They've been trying to take away that drive. So we've had to adjust and try to do a few things differently, how we're attacking. So there's no huge adjustments that we'll make. We want to kind of, press our wheel on that other team, doing what we want to do. And we'll make those adjustments. But here's the thing you have to know, Middle Tennessee was able to beat Murray State by 20. We all know Murray State's got a good team year in, year out. On any given night in college basketball, anybody can beat anybody. I think that Middle may have got beat. Well, they did get beat. They got beat 13 the first night against Florida International, but turn around and win by 11 the next night. So that's a 24-point swing in those games. And they've got plenty of capable guys, and know this about them too. Their leading scorer hasn't played in these 4 games in league play. Schuler, he's been out. We anticipate him being back. Also, they had one of their big guys out who was starting earlier in the year. So they were without 2 players that we anticipate playing this weekend. They hadn't played in their 4 conference games yet. So they've got plenty of good players. They're an experienced team too. They got a bunch of transfers. And when you take them as transfers, you took them because they were a pretty good player. And they've got, 5 or 6 guys like that. So they're very, very capable. Missing shots and making shots, it's a fine line sometimes. Those shots you miss, you pick a night to make them, you have a chance to beat anybody. And, Middle has that kind of ability.
Coach is Jeff Lightsey from WBKL. We saw Carsen maybe have one of his better games of the season last time out against Marshall. He hit 3 threes as well. What is it going to take for him to continue to have some success like that moving forward?
Well, Jeff, like you said, it was good to see him have some real success at that 4 spot too. He was able to make a couple shots there, and and got him at the 5. We was able to drive him a little bit. So anytime you can see that ball go through like he did a little bit, it gives you a lot of confidence. And he needed a game. It hadn't been easy for him up to this point. So hopefully we can continue to build on that. That's what we need from him. We need both him and Charles with the ability. When you got an open shot out there at the top circle, and both of them have the ability, time and score presents itself. You have freedom to shoot that shot. Because anytime, if we're not getting a lot of threes from some other perimeter guys, which I think we still have some guys can make them. But if we think they're not going to guard those bigs and they're capable of making them, then we'll take what they give us. So that's kind of what Marshall did.
Coach Taryn Johnson, WNKY 40 TV. Going back to that 11-4 start real quick, you guys, it's your best start in 15 years, but it seems like your team isn't even close to playing its best game yet. What are some improvements that you're looking for these guys to make down the stretch?
Well, I think you're right on all that. It's kind of real simple. Make a few more shots. I think we've missed a lot of easy shots. Tavion's, I think he was 7 for 28 the last 2 games against Marshall. And most of them all good shots he normally makes. So make a few more of those shots. Let's continue to get better defensively. I do think we got to continue to change defenses a little more with different personnel and try to get a little bit of a rhythm. I think that's the biggest thing, just trying to get some rhythm of what we're trying to do both offensively and defensively. And again, we're still making changes, what we're doing, different personnel. And, it's adjustment for Davey. Davey got thrown in to start against Louisiana Tech because we was without Cooper both of those games. So that was a huge adjustment for him. Not playing's not the adjustment. It's just what it does to your mind. All of a sudden you go from a different role. In that game, the more he plays, the game will start slowing down for him. We always want him in attack mode. He'll figure out when that right attack mode is. So, again, players, coaches, system, everything. It's every day. It's a little tweak here or there.
Hey, Coach, this is Nick again. I guess sort of to build off of Terrence's question, saying that it has been one of the better starts in the past 15 years. I think a player to point out would be Charles and getting his 5th Player of the Week award this week. What's it been like watching him play this season and just sort of developing his game to help out this team?
Well, I think the biggest thing, first off, none of us knew 100% where he'd be back from this injury. Where do you get back? We know what the doctors told us, and we felt good about that. But again, I think the biggest change, and again, there's no substitute for experience, and he's gained another year just sitting over there watching, sitting over there, in a rehab room. That's experience. But where his game has changed as much as anything is he's playing at another level energy-wise. Forget that he's stronger. Forget that he's more experienced mentally. But you take all those things and you put him with his ability to take his energy to another level. That's what's changed his game as much as anything, that he's playing at another level energy-wise. One more? Jared, you got one more. I know. You didn't ask but 3, 4. Who's got one more?
I'll throw one at you. You talked about trying to get it inside against these guys, like you always do when you have guys like Carsen and Charles. This is a Middle Tennessee team that has the best 3-point percentage defense in the league, but then their field goal percentage defense is 10th in the league. I guess how much do you see that as an opportunity against them specifically?
Well, again, everybody may play us different than they've played anybody else, just like Marshall. Marshall has not doubled anybody all year long. And first game here, Friday night, or whenever it was, so they doubled him and tripled him every night. Second night, we were a little bit better against it, number one. But number two, they weren't able to do it quite as well or get to him as well as quick. And something you're not used to doing, sometimes you can take away one thing, but give up something else that hurts you too. And I'm sure they can look back and they give up some offensive putbacks because sometimes in that doubling, you don't have good assignments. So I have no idea what Middle will do. But again, you get to a point soon, there's only different kind of changes that you can see. I do think the more real hard double teams we see, the better we'll become against them. More prepared we'll become against them. So that was good that we were able to, see it against Marshall. Made us better. And our guys will get more comfortable how to attack it and how to make people pay that double teams you.
Anything else for Coach? Anybody got anything? All right. Thank you
All right, guys.